There, we're up.
Okay, yeah, it has the little, we get a little notice, so.
Yeah, here we go. So who would like to be first on just giving each other brief overview of what your first job was and what your next one was and how that all turned out. And yeah, from leaving while you were at 9 Mayo and after you left, and what did that look like? So Jim
I
was
nominate Jim to go first. Maybe we should go by.
seniority. Oh yes, that's good. Okay.
Yeah, that
Since
works.
it's job discussion and.
Ladies first, maybe? Oh no, okay, let Jim, the elder trick. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that works. So anyhow, Dad had a peculiar talent for digging up absolutely miserable jobs for neighbors.
Oh,
And just really grim, gruesome things like somebody wanted their sloping lawn a little concavity leveled out. So, dragging countless loads of dirt and trying to level it.
was that a paid job? That was your first paid job?
Supposedly, yeah.
Only he took the pay? Oh, anyways,
Well,
I'll shut up.
Yeah, no, it just,
Huh.
I was really highly unmotivated and therefore didn't do the job very well.
Okay.
And I think the old goat decided it make more sense to do it himself, thankfully.
Was that in our neighborhood in Pine Glen?
In our neighborhood, yeah. The fellow who lived behind Ross Switzer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just across the street from the Erdmans, and I can't remember that guy, but
He was kind
okay.
of grumpy. But
yeah, he was military.
yeah. So my first real job, if you will, was working for Parker Clean.
Oh, I
And
remember that.
I had some real adventures, and it was a real growing up experience. I'd only been there for a couple of weeks or so, and I'd kind of figured out what the mirror on the driver's side of the truck was showing me, but I wasn't quite sure what the one on the passenger side was showing me. And so I was backing the van out, and all of a sudden somebody's hollering at me, and then a slight little bump, and I just managed to back into the owner's brand new Chrysler.
Oh no.
And I thought, oh man, I am so fired.
Yeah.
But I went in and I was surprised. He was totally cool about it. He said, I think you should start coming in Saturdays and just practice how to back these vehicles.
Oh, wonderful.
Wow.
And to me, the tremendous victory was, and neither of you will have been this place. The Chateau Laurier has a service entrance and cut into the side of the living rock. And it's just one vehicle wide, and the width kind of varies a lot.
Okay.
In some places, you've got a couple of feet on either side of your mirrors. And in other places, you're down to just a couple of inches.
Wow.
And To make life even more fun, it's not any fixed radius as you're backing around.
Okay.
So you'd go in, and if nobody was in front of you, you breathed a huge sigh of relief. And then you could unload the vehicle and get all the laundry to the concierge or whoever it was supposed to meet you. But if there was somebody already in front,
Oh,
then you wanted to get unloaded as fast as possible so you could back out before the next guy come in, and then you were trapped.
okay.
And I was totally thrilled that by the end of the summer, I was routinely able to back out without once having to go forward and kind of reposition myself.
Good
I
on
could
you.
actually, using the two mirrors, get my way back out. And so that was a real victory. We did have some adventures. It amazed me that I could walk into the service entrance in the back of the center block, you know, hello, Bear, and have this big trolley filled with laundry.
Yeah.
And apart from just waving and saying hi to the security guard, that was it.
Wow.
You know, I could have been carrying half a ton of plastic explosive under that or something, and nobody would have known any better.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, go in, deliver laundry. I remember coming across people like Stanley Knowles and
Hmm.
other famous politicians from that era. Fortunately, I don't think I had the misfortune of encountering Trudeau. And I discovered that there were only two facilities that I regularly visited that were air conditioned,
Okay.
and one of them was Metropolitan Life. There were only two facilities that there was any rigmarole getting into.
Hmm.
One was Metropolitan Life, and the other was the National Defense Headquarters.
That's
Yeah,
logical.
yeah. And I never got past the front foyer on that. They
Okay.
would just, somebody had to come down, meet me, accept the laundry, and then I headed back to the van, and that was that. I remember driving one of our smaller vans, not the big step vans, but one of the sort of like the old Econoline vans,
Yeah.
out to is Westgate Mall way out the west end of the Queensway?
Not the full west. Westgate is where Carling crosses under the 417.
Oh,
Are you thinking of
okay. Well,
Bayshore?
this would have probably been close to that. There's a big shopping mall there. I pulled off the Queensway,
Yeah.
pulled into the Westgate parking lot, spun the wheel, and it just kept going.
Uh-oh.
And so I gently brought the van to a halt, put it in park, and walked over to our shop and phoned the boss and said, I think you're going to have to bring a tow truck out here. The van just completely lost its steering after I got off the Queensway. And
Oh,
I was
Jim.
thinking, you know, how wonderful it was that the steering broke when I was in the parking lot, not on the freeway.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
And
You know what?
then,
Can I just say that that boss had, at least from your telling, had such a nice reaction to all these mistakes. I was just thinking Dad would have had, you
oh,
know,
Connection?
yeah,
conniptions. Yeah. But so continue.
yeah. And then the other adventure was I had a young Quebecois helper, and this guy thought he was quite the ladies' man.
Okay.
So we'd be driving the step van, and he'd be sticking an arm and a leg going out, uh, hey, baby, and everything was tabarouit and tabernac and so
I
forth.
remember you telling me about that.
Oh, yeah. So we had done the gymnasium drapes that hang over the stage of a high school. And I
Okay.
believe it was the high school that if you went up Marival all the way across Carling Avenue and continued on the direction you'd go to get to the bridge across to Quebec,
Okay.
very close to the end of Ontario, there was a major high school.
Okay.
And that's where we were replacing these curtains.
Yeah.
Now, our biggest dry cleaning machines have been able to do them, but we didn't have a dryer that was big enough to dry them.
Oh, wow.
And so dry cleaning fluid um, should really be labeled as a hazardous substance
I think it is these days.
because
Yeah.
we went there, hung up these drapes, figuring they could finish drying, hanging in the gym,
Yeah.
as they weren't drying fast, being all bundled up at our place. And that is probably the only time I've been stoned. We were both so out of it when we left that place that we both agreed there's no way we're going to drive for a while until our heads clear.
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty, actually, in retrospect, it's equivalent to running behind the DDD truck. You did right that. You didn't think about it, but that is really poisonous stuff. That I think it's carbon tetrafluoride or something.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, tetrachloride, yeah. And so that was one of the other big things. And then that little Econoline van, the fellow who normally drove it was one of the older, if not the oldest driver. And he was sort of the crankshaft of the fleet, if you will,
Yeah.
but still fun to work with. And um, there was about 6 inches of gear shift lever still left protruding from the steering column.
Oh.
And so he would be working the gears up and down with that thing.
Uh-huh.
And he he had such an amazing sense of humor that it made for a lot of fun doing jobs with him.
Cool. Do you have
And
a year on that, Jim? What year would your first job have been?
well, that would have been I'm pretty sure um, between high school and Western. So that would have probably been 1970.
Okay. Okay.
And now there was another memory I was trying to, I think I've lost it. Anyhow,
While you think about that, I think instead of us listing all of our jobs, because you've this has just opened up wonderful nostalgia for us. So how about could we bring yours to a close and then Sylvia reminisce a bit about her first
sure.
job? Okay, but
Yeah,
if you think of the details of that you'd like to share, write it down real quick and jog your memory. But can we move to Sylvia?
sure.
Okay.
I'll try and be quick. I didn't learn how to drive. I did at DREO learn how to drive a truck and use the mirrors, but I think my first jobs were babysitting, really. I don't
Oh,
know,
okay.
and I
Hmm.
swear I went from $75, 75 cents an hour to $1 an hour.
That was huge.
And I want to put it aside that Angie's babysitters are asking 35 an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, just so you know. And then there was this must have been when I'm like 16-ish. I worked as a dishwasher for like 2 days and the guy never paid me.
Oh.
Yeah, and I didn't have rubber gloves and stuff. So and then I wasn't, fierce enough to demand to be paid. Of course, I was probably made $5 because it was minimum wage. And then I worked this is sort of like grade 12, which was probably 69-ish, I worked as a dish, as a in a driver's ed school. I mean, as I answered the phone to sell their
Oh.
driver's ed courses. It was because
What's what school was that, or what
I
driver's
was
ed
at
school?
Maryville High, I was in Maryville, like,
Breakaway driving school.
oh, maybe I can't remember. They had a little office. I worked there in the summer. I think probably was 16 because everybody else was up at the cottage and I was there. So I just answered
Oh.
phones and I remember that the owner, c- called one time pretending to be someone else, and I said friggin' or something, and he reprimanded me
Oh.
for using that bad language. And then I don't know, somewhere I must have been maybe when I was in QE or something, or these were summer jobs. I worked at Wang. I don't know
Yeah.
which. As a matter of fact, I think maybe Wang was after Parks and Rec. I can't remember the order because remember I worked for the Ottawa Parks and Rec for two
Yeah.
summers. One year was while I, must have been 70 or 71, and my job was to watch the pools, fill up the pool in the morning, play games with the kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was 2 years. So, that was, uh, uh, a leader, park and rec leader. And then, yeah, worked for Wang Computers again, selling, which I was supposed to go around to businesses and see if they needed word processing. But
Oh.
yeah, it was like traveling sales. It was horrible because I, was too not finding the people that could make the deal, just the secretaries. They weren't deciding, weren't the decision makers. And
Yeah.
I was not, was poorly cast in that role. But looking at my resume, well, yeah, I had sold driver's ed material. Yeah, so and then I can't figure out. I'll go through and then at when I was at University of Western Ontario, one summer. This was must have been the summer I lived with you, Jim. So maybe between third and fourth year or something. I worked at the UWO Observatory
Yes.
doing at night and then
Oh.
doing some analysis of one of the professors. Uh, I guess it would be a thesis, but her data for her paper on what was that, globular clusters or something. It was, so that was, and I forgot to say, and then in the summer of 75, I worked at Mechanical Specialties for Uncle Laurie when
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
That was
and
big.
as a Girl Friday, like filing and answer the phones and that kind of stuff. And then I
For
think my
anyone in
first,
particular, or like that was a big company.
yeah. Oh no, it was like the there was an office, girl did the accounting, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So I would file things and
Okay.
so general office work. And and then I worked at the last summer job I had, while in university when I was in engineering was for Bell Northern Research, so where and I sometimes I rode my bicycle out. What's the name of that
From
city on the west end of
Canada, or
Canada? Yeah, they were in Canada. Yeah.
that's a long way to bicycle. Were you on Cookstown Road or something?
I can't remember where it was, but yeah, it was in Canada. But the Ottawa has bike trails. I mean, it would take me a half hour, something like that, to drive. And I'd really go fast if there was thunderstorms.
Yes.
But I took a bus. I didn't have a car, so I took a
Yeah.
took a bus to get there, or two buses. Yeah. So that's my until I get out of university, and then I have
Okay.
a whole bunch of. I think it's your turn for your early jobs, Carl.
I had not thought of including babysitting, but I remember babysitting, and there were some that I really enjoyed, but others that, yeah, I there was one house that I had an aversion to their Siamese cat. It would be sitting on my lap and nice and friendly, and I would be rubbing its back, and all of a sudden it would just dig its claws in for no reason at all. And I thought, stupid cat. But yeah, babysitting. That was I I I remember, yeah, $2 an hour or less. Yeah, you'd what would you get? Maybe $5 or $6 for staying up till 2 in the morning, and yeah.
Yeah.
But we made it. In my mind, my first official job was a co-op grocery store. The co-op where it was at in behind the old CJOH.
Oh
So
yeah.
I
I was gonna
rode
say
my bike,
Clyde Avenue or something like that.
yeah, just off Clyde Avenue. Um, and I rode my bike up there on Friday nights and I think Saturdays, and um, uh, I I enjoyed that. You got into a rhythm, and it was fun. I remember um, there's certainly an art to using the paper bags, and you pick them up and pop, you whip them up and pop them open, and then you put them down on the tray and put cans in first, not after, and the order of how you packed the bags and stocking shelves. I remember that, the old stamper, and none of these stickers or zebra codes. Uh, this is back in the old technology, but um, just one more reminiscence. Riding back home in June, um, looking down and seeing June bugs. Like, I had to wear a white shirt, and looking down while I'm riding my bicycle on Maryville Road in the dark section and seeing these June bugs coming up towards my neck. And you're going, rubbing them up. Yeah, you'd hear a zip, zip as they come at you and attach to your neck. Anyway, so that was co-op, and I think that was 1970. Forget what 71 was. 72 was junior forest ranger, taking the train the end of June in 1972, all the way out to Thunder Bay, and then taking a bus 5 hours to Fort Francis. And then we got everyone, all the junior forest rangers that were working at Lake of the Woods Provincial Park. We were picked up at 10 at night at the bus station, and we rode by bus in the dark out to the camp. And um, I I spent a summer with total strangers, some were young hoodlums who were off like gang members off the streets of Toronto, and eh, it was an interesting experience, but I
Did you have,
survived.
did you sleep in a tent, or was that where they told you not to get out of your tent because of the black flies, or?
Okay, that's when I was a stream surveyor when we got trained up near oh, I can't remember where, up near Bancroft. There were people that were going up to Moosonee and beyond, and they were the ones who were told, "Don't get out of your tent after after like when you get back from doing your job, you can stay in the tent because you'll be eaten alive with the black flies."
Oh my gosh.
So that was 72, 73. Oh man. 74 was the ice company. 73 was stream surveys. So that was the next one. I worked out in Lanark. And I remember going door to door trying to find a place to stay in Lanark. And it was about 4 or 5 people that I ended up talking to. And the last one was the Presley family, right? The corner as you were coming into town. And they were a very nice family. And I would get a ride out to the Logs and Frogs, the Lands and Forest. It was Lands and Forest the year after we were changed to Ministry of Natural Resources. But and I surveyed streams with the team, and there was there's so much detail I could talk about for that. Just like you, Jim, you had lots of memories. And um, 74 was Capital City Ice Company.
Oh,
70, 75 was Sea Lamprey Control. And that was a fascinating job. And then 76, I got out of university, stayed with Janie and Don, and worked at the co-op feed plant for May, June, July, and then August. That's when I was at the Olympics um, with Ambassadors in Mission, or the AIM team.
Yeah.
And then I went off to university,
Well,
to Bible college, sorry.
I have another little story that I could go back. This would have been roughly the same era as Parker Clean.
Okay.
And that was working as a pack boy for Steinberg's in Billings Bridge.
I remember that. And did you ride your bike there?
Yeah, I rode my bicycle every day.
Wow.
And that worked most of the time. But there was that one day I was pedaling to work, and somebody just 2 or 3 driveways north of Hunt Club came out of his driveway, and he was looking the wrong way and drove into me,
Oh my.
and literally threw me into the opposing traffic lane.
uh,
And
Oh,
I was
John.
so stunned at the time that I remember trying to get myself organized, because it occurred to me I'm on the live lane going southbound, and there's a
Yeah.
curve up there so people won't see me. I've
Oh,
got to somehow get off this pavement.
yeah.
And the fellow who nailed me took me to Riverside uh, Hospital to get me checked over at the Emerge.
That was nice of him.
Well, I thought so, at a minimum, anyhow. And fortunately, my bike somehow managed to survive the incident.
Oh, good.
So it was
Glad you're still alive. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, and I remember a couple of times where some of the old timers said, "Hey Jim, can you go talk to the supervisor? We need the keys to the parking lot." You know, and you're just being real stupid, and you go up. Said, he said, "Did so and so tell you to come?" And he says, "I'm going to get that little rat." Because I had no idea. I was just, wow, I didn't realize I had a key to the parking lot.
I uh, I think I think we're on to something here. There's just a rich treasure trove of reminiscence of summer jobs. If if we've just only just begun here, can we continue this next week or whenever we work it out?
Yes,
Yeah,
that would be good.
I'm gonna start wrapping up. I do want to say I I've been I, I've been going through my, let's see, my day timers from back when I started keeping track of things. Um, like um, I have notes here from when I worked for Sears in their collection department, and I wrote down some of the funny stories. And I've been reading some of them to Wendy and just killing myself laughing. So somewhere along the line,
Oh, I remember when you kept all those. Oh my goodness. Carl, you have so many things stashed away.
oh yeah, I just there was one talking to a customer. Do you work outside of the home? Oh yes, I do. Well, what do you do? Well, sometimes I dig in the garden. Sometimes I shovel the driveway. Anyways, uh, so I'm looking forward to spending time doing more of this.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring the recording to a close here.
yeah.
Okay.
And let's see, stop recording and trim.